Thanks to data miners, the entirety of the Space-Time Smackdown set for Pokemon Pocket is now known. That will be releasing here soon. Today's video, I'm going to be ranking all of the EX Pokemon from these two packs, 10 of them in total. If you want a link to the full data mine spoiler, check the video description down below. Now let's get to it, shall we? Before I dive into our C tier, which is the lowest I'm going to rank anything today, I will point out that I'm starting at C, not D or F, because I think it looks like they've done a pretty good job at a cursory glance of making cards that all seem pretty interesting and could potentially have a playable niche, even if some of them appear to be a little bit more powerful than others. That being said, our C tier of our 10 newest EX Pokemon, in my opinion, likely are Licky Licky, Gallade, and Infernape. Licky Licky is probably the weakest of this C tier grouping, I would wager, for a couple of reasons. The first is that it has a pretty hefty attack cost of 4 energy, and its retreat cost on an EX means that if you ever pull it out, even with something like Leaf, you're going to have to spend a lot of resources getting it charged back up again. Its biggest upside is definitely the fact that it has 160 HP on a stage 1, letting it survive something like a Mewtwo side drive, which a lot of EX stage 1s can't brag about. The one saving grace for this card, I would wager the spot I'll want to explore with it first, is the fact that it's all colorless energy to attack means it could be an excellent pairing for Dialga. Dialga is going to let you build up 2 energy per turn on something on your bench, and it's stacking 2 energy twice on Licky Licky, getting it ready to jump in with that full 160 HP to get licking could be quite potent. Gallade and Infernape are both templates of cards that will enjoy going first in Pokemon Pocket with that first evolution advantage. They notably both have a stage 1 Pokemon that attacks for a single energy, and then if you evolve into your stage 2 right away, you can attach the second energy and hit with their big swing right out of the gate. That being said, stage 2 Pokemon in Pocket are inherently inconsistent, and if these cards don't get evolved ASAP, their attacks tend to pale in comparison to some of the other bigger stage 2 Pokemon that regularly see play, such as Charizard that gets blasted. One potential saving grace for stage 2 Pokemon in this set in general is a new trainer card, the Pokemon Communication. This allows you to swap a Pokemon from your hand for a different one in your deck. So the big question mark around the power level for Infernape and Gallade in my mind is, can this card add enough consistency to let you hit these stage 2s on time game after game? Another noteworthy inclusion to call out alongside Infernape in our new card release is the supporter Dawn, which says move 1 energy from one of your benched Pokemon up to your active. This would effectively let you set up Infernape to attack 2 turns in a row. You put it up, you Flare Blitz, you discard all its energy, and then the following turn you Dawn a Fire energy off your bench and play one from your energy zone and get to crack for 140 for a second time in a row. I could definitely see a shell where you frontline for Infernape with something like Genetic Apex Rapidash, an efficient 1 energy attacker that can buy you time to set up your stage 2. Then you use an X speed to swap that Rapidash out while keeping the energy on it. You crack with your Infernape the first time, and the following turn you use that Dawn with the energy off of the Rapidash plus another to finish up the game altogether. Moving along to our B tier of our new EX Pokemon, I would put Pachirisu EX and Yanmega EX inside of this power category. To evaluate Pachirisu, we need a little bit of context alongside it. There's only 3 Poketool cards in the Data Mind set release, so Giant Cape, definitely super duper playable. Happy to have 2 of those. Rocky Helmet, pretty solid as well. The third one, the Lumberry, seems kind of mediocre. Both status conditions aren't something you're often looking to clear, and in terms of being played with Pachirisu, if its effect actually got used, it would get discarded, meaning it's no longer a Poketool that can power it up. That being said, having just 4 Poketools in your deck is relatively consistent for this new yellow mouse. Specifically, when you're going second with first energy advantage, you're about 80% to have a Poketool on time, and if you extend that to the third turn afterwards, you're about 85 5%, so pretty significant portion of the time, even with just 4 Poke Tools, you're going to get to hit with Pachirisu for that full 80 points of damage. The two big questions that'll need to be answered about Pachirisu in particular is, one, can Pikachu EX decks afford to play this card with 4 Poke Tools in order to enable it? And 2, is there a non-Pikachu EX Lightning deck that Pachirisu could potentially headline on its own if not? Yanmega EX is probably the ranking in here I'm the least sure of. I think it's possible that this card is better than B tier, but its power level is really going to depend on the context of what this 120 damage breakpoint looks like in our new format. In the previous one, this card would have been an easy all-star. When paired with Giovanni, you clear things like Mew EX, Starmie EX, you clear Pikachus even without it. However, in a post-Great Cape world where things could be having slightly more HP, dealing 120 could potentially come up short depending on what the top decks are looking like. I will say one place I'm definitely excited to play Yanmega is behind copies of Executor EX. Executor has felt like long one of the best cards in Pokemon Pocket that's really lacked a good finisher to play behind it, and Yanmega, taking colorless energy, can play behind absolutely anything, but its grass typing is extra relevant when paired with Executor because it's another card that Erica can be healing up for extra sustain. Going to our A tier EX Pokemon in the Space-Time Smackdown, we have Mismagius, Weevil, and Darkrai. Mismagius introduces a new status condition to the game with this expansion of Confusion. According to the tooltips inside of the client, Confusion makes the confused Pokemon flip a coin, and if tails, its attack does nothing. It's noteworthy that this is a little bit weaker than Sleep overall, because while it's 50% to blank an attack, they can still retreat out of their confused Pokemon and use something else. As someone who spent a lot of time playing Wigglytuff EX, which is a similarly statted card that requires 3 energy to attack, I think Mismagius has some solid potential, especially when you consider the position where you have first energy advantage. You'll be able to use Mischievous to attack on 1, and then on your second turn, you evolve into Mismagius, crack them for 70, and start having a 50% chance to blank their attack every single turn. Weevil EX is a new fantastic attacker that will enjoy going first with that first evolution advantage. You'll go ahead and evolve and attach your first energy and attack for 30, and then the following turn you crack for 70, meaning you deal 50 on average per turn for your first 2 turns for just 1 energy. You could also be extra cheeky and combine this with a Rocky Helmet, potentially stopping your opponent's first attack or threatening 70 right away when you evolve up into Weevil. Most importantly, this is another cheap energy attacker for a dark deck alongside Genetic Apex Weezing, which is going to make our next card in this A tier Darkrai EX be especially potent. Darkrai EX feels like exactly the type of card Genetic Apex Weezing has been waiting for, and Weevil now as well will pair fantastically with. You want just a good lead attacker that only needs a single energy that can pump out damage while you build up Darkrai in the back. Building up Darkrai in the back, thanks to his Nightmare Aura, is also going to in turn help you pump out additional damage with whatever you're attacking in the front. This Nightmare Aura is also going to be a fantastic enabler for your Weevil EX, because once Weevil knocks out its first target, your opponent's going to shift in something that's healthy, and then Darkrai is going to get to mark that 20 damage on it, so your Weevil can continue attacking for 70 again and again and again. I honestly think it's possible that Darkrai and Weevil end up spawning a new top tier dark deck, in which case it's possible I'm underrating both of these cards in this review. Finally, that leaves us with our 2 S tier EX Pokemon in this expansion as our 2 pack headliners, Dialga EX and Palkia EX. I was pretty shocked to look at opinions of the teaser video when we first saw these 2 EXs to see a lot of people rating Palkia kind of low. I think too many folks are hyper focused on the Dimensional Storm finishing attack being weaker than something like Mewtwo and not putting enough weight into the fact that the single energy slash attack is going to make Palkia one of the best lead Pokemon in the game. As someone who's played an unhealthy amount of Farfetch'd, Palkia is a beefier lead that starts pumping out a similar amount of damage while also buying you a lot more time with its 150 HP health pool. In my mind, Palkia's Dimensional Storm is kind of flavor text. It's going to be there when we high roll out a Misty or when we have no other big finisher that we've drawn. But in general, the appeal of this card is that it's a potent starter that can occasionally be a finisher for us when we don't have any other better options in our current draw. This flexibility is powerful. Dialga EX is hands down the card I am most excited to brew and play with in this upcoming expansion. The fact that Metallic Turbo allows you to attach 2 metal energy to anything on your bench of any type gives this card so much utility and range to deck build around. From Licky Licky that we looked at earlier in this video to anti-meta tech cards like Tauros and Mew from the Mythical Island expansion to even just powering up Melmetal, our previous Metal All-Star, Dialga seems like it's going to have a lot of different things going on. I think it's also worth calling out that Dialga works very cleanly at ramping itself in a way as well with the new supporter Dawn that we mentioned earlier in this expansion. You can Metallic Turbo for 30 and put 2 energy on something on your bench. Then the following turn, you can attach your energy from the energy zone, getting Dialga up to 30, and then Dawn one of the metal energy you generated up to it as well, letting you use heavy impact for 100 the turn after you use your first Metallic Turbo. I am super pumped to explore deck building with all 10 of the EX cards in this video. I think they look like they've done a phenomenal job of giving us cards that are likely playable, but also are just different from our existing card pool as opposed to being strictly power crept and better. I would love to hear in the comments down below which of these EX Pokemon you're looking forward to playing with. Do you agree with where I rated everything before we get a chance to play it, or do you think there's something I'm under or over evaluating? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed my ramblings this far, be sure to smash that like button to help these rankings reach some more people. If you happen to be new here, consider subscribing to the channel. I'm making a ton of content around the Space Time Smackdown expansion 7 days a week here, as I have for the last number of months now, enjoying lots of fantastic Pokemon Pocket stuff. Thanks for watching all the way through to the end, and may your first Space Time Smashdown packs be fantastic.